Hello friends, welcome to my bedroom. This is where I get dressed in the morning. It's the little dressing chair I have next to my dresser. I thought this would be an appropriate place to start this video. I have a goal and I'd like to share it with you and bring you along with my journey. I have a goal to be able to tell any doctor who asks me, do you exercise? Yes. I want the answer to be yes. And most usually it's not really, maybe sometimes, but definitely not a yes. So my personal goal is to be able to walk an hour every day. And part of it is I had heard about the benefits of low intensity exercise for weight loss and for health in general. And everybody always talks about the 10,000 steps a day. And there was a lady I was watching on YouTube that was talking about the only exercise she did to lose like a crazy amount of weight was just walk an hour a day. So I thought that is a nice goal to have. And this was also encouraged by recently getting an Apple Watch, and of course it has the rings on it, and one of them is to get 30 minutes of exercise a day. And part of why this is a journey was like I got the watch and it said 30 minutes a day. I was like, oh, that's not a big deal. I'll go for a 30-minute walk. And I did that for 2 days. And then my body basically said, no, this isn't possible. And I was in extreme pain and fatigue for probably a week afterwards, which was very discouraging. So my current status, my current goal for this week is to walk 10 minutes every day. And once I'm able to do that for a week, then I'll start raising the time. So like probably go up to 15 minutes, 20, 25, 5-minute increments. And I was watching a video from that lady about walking, and I can link that video. She was saying the key for her was to include stretching at the end, and how people think, well, it's just walking, it's not a big deal, you don't have to stretch. So that is one of the things. I actually really enjoy stretching, but I have a mental roadblock with it, thinking, oh, it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and so along with these walks, I'm going to be doing immediately afterwards some stretching. And my mind always wants to like research things and come up with a perfect plan, and usually by the time I get it, I'm too exhausted to execute the plan. And there's also perfectionism involved in that, in wanting to figure it all out and know all the answers before I start anything, to probably limit failure. But that's something I'm learning, is that failures are great teachers, and that's what helps you learn and grow. So rather than trying to get the perfect stretching plan and all the things I need to do, I'm just going to start stretching at the end of each walk. And if I decide that there's better stretches, then okay. But if I can just stretch, then that's a beginning. So in this video, I'll be documenting my first week of walking, and this will be a 10-minute walks. Sometimes I'll go a little bit more than that or not, but my base goal is 10 minutes. So thank you for joining me and supporting me in this adventure. Enjoy. This turned out to be a very interesting week to start a walking habit. So here on Monday, the main thing for me was just learning how to film myself. Like, how do you film your wrist when you have a camera in one hand? I'm just pointing out that I was wearing my tennis shoes. Basically, on a previous trip, we had done a lot of walking, and I ended up actually getting blisters in the airport on my feet from all the walking that we did. I invested in some new socks because I looked up information about blisters, and it turned out the thickness of your sock can make a difference. So I invested in some new socks that claim to help prevent blisters. And so far, I don't have the hot, irritated feeling after walking with these new socks. I appreciated that. On Tuesday, it turned out to be very windy. I got to wear a different protection from the sun. I was wearing my face shield. I've had issues with skin cancer on my nose, so I try to be careful as much as I can to protect my face. So I have my big hat or my face shield that I go back and forth between. I still haven't gotten into the habit of wearing sunscreen daily, but I suppose that's to come. On Wednesday, the weather turned very, very cold, so I bundled up with my gloves, my big coat. I have enjoyed incorporating the daily stretches. They're not amazing or, they're not anything over the top. Previous time in my life, I did used to do yoga, so when I think about stretching, I think I have an exaggerated idea of what is involved, needing to take, 45 minutes to an hour to really do it. My philosophy at this time is incorporate some, start the habit, make it consistent, and you'll be better off. On Thursday, the result of the cold weather ended up being snow. So we ended up getting, I want to say 3 to 4 inches. I enjoyed walking on this day. Very pretty. And the nice thing was it wasn't horribly cold, so there wasn't any, all the sidewalks and everything were slick or icy. At the end of my walk, I did go ahead and put salt down on our sidewalk because we have one area that tends to get icy after a snow. So just as a precaution, I put that down. But like I said, this was an interesting week for me to be doing this because earlier in the week with the wind and the heat, we ended up getting fires in the north part of Texas. Some pretty severe ones, over 1 million acres burning. But in the middle of this week of the hot, dry, crazy winds, we ended up having snow, which was a blessing. So here on Friday, it's back to being cold, but the snow's all gone. But yes, the temperatures were swinging drastically between the 70s to the 70s, pushing 80s all the way down to the 50s. And I don't know if it was because of the weather, not sure what, but I ended up getting a cold. So this first week we had crazy weather, and I also ended up fighting a cold, and you can probably still hear that in my voice because it's really affecting my nose, my throat, also my rest. But this day, it was actually affecting my eyes. My eyes are very, very dry, so I couldn't handle wearing contacts on this day. Weekend walking was a treat because on this day, you can see it's actually a different time of day. We're in the dark, but on the weekend, West was able to walk with me, and that was always a pleasure. We used to have a habit of walking every evening after dinner, so this is always a nice throwback. In addition to starting the habit of walking this week, I also started at-home physical therapy. West's work gives me access to a at-home program, and for the time being, I'm doing their neck program in hopes that it might help prevent some migraines. So doing the PT 3 times a week is adding an additional 45 minutes of exercise on top of the walking. And here on Sunday, we were able to get out earlier in the day, probably around lunchtime, and it turned out to be very, very windy. So I got to wear my face shield again. It's nice because the wind doesn't take my hat away. But both of us were very tired, so we ended up doing a pretty short walk. So in summary this week, on Monday I walked 12 minutes, Tuesday I walked 10, Wednesday 14, Thursday 15, Friday 13, Saturday 14, and Sunday 10. And that adds up to a total of 88 minutes. Thank you for joining me for this first week of walking. I'm proud that I was able to walk every day despite getting sick and despite having crazy weather to deal with. It feels good to have that start of a good habit. And it's nice to see it add up, with the goal of 10 minutes a day. I ended up with 88 minutes a week. And then that also doesn't include the time stretching and the time spent in the PT program, which would be about 45 minutes. So going from no intentional exercise to this in a matter of 7 days, I think is a great improvement. So I hope you take this as an encouragement to start moving your body if you haven't. I'm looking forward to the changes I'm going to see in my health and my energy by incorporating this habit. So next week, my goal is going to be for 15 minutes. And I hope you come back and join me for that. I am doing these videos to encourage other people, but also simply to document my own journey. So I hope you have a wonderful day and you get out there and get moving. And in the meantime, feel free to like and subscribe. This is a new channel.